definitely loved, you know, a lot of Technicolor musicals were a reference for this film, but also a lot of just old movies were a reference to this film, and they had this kind of, I mean, they also were shooting on different kind of film stock, of course that helps, but this like full coverage but creaminess to their makeup. It was just a different kind of look, I guess, for what's popular right now, but very, very beautiful, especially on screen. Our kind of like foundation to build off was the Mattel line, and so when it comes to costumes, the idea that you get a Barbie in a pack and you get all the accessories and all the matching like pieces of the outfit that go together, or in some cases that can be converted from day to night. You know, we'd take that idea and run with it, where Jacqueline would create like a perfect day look, but then when Barbie goes to the beach, it's the same material but a different outfit. And her hair could change impossibly from, you know, minute to minute. She can go to the beach with a long ponytail and then have hair up to here for lunchtime and then have it curly by dinner, and that was just kind of like the magic of Barbie Land, is that her hair could change with her outfit. There was like a really nice harmony between all the different elements involved. You know, we have the, you know, Mattel line to pull from inspiration-wise. We've got all the usual places you'd look for inspiration. And I don't mean just for costumes or hair and makeup, but for the set design too. It's, you know, Sarah Greenwood, our incredible production designer, looking at Slim Aaron's pictures and the houses in them and how people would kind of like have this, like, you know, effortless but luxurious vibe felt right for Barbie Land. Or, you know, in Slim Aaron's pictures, you've got all these women in bikinis, but they never look self-conscious because there's lots of women together. There was something like empowering about, you know, we talk a lot about what struck us as feeling empowering and freeing and fun, because no one's meant to feel self-conscious in Barbie Land until Barbie starts having an existential crisis. But before that, you know, it would never occur to her that being in a bikini could be embarrassing. It's like, she feels great, they all feel great, every day is great. So we talk a lot about what we're trying to say in the script, pulling from references that you do on any film when you look to artists from the past and different source material, films, film references, photography, whatever, real life. And then also, of course, the Mattel line. You know, we had 64 years of history to look at, and that was always a fun touchstone too, to be like, okay, here's this Barbie, she's wearing like this gold disco outfit, so what if we did our version of that? Some outfits we obviously replicated extremely accurately, and some were very much inspired by, but, you know, embellished or transformed in different ways. So yeah, there was just so much. There's obviously so many different directions we could go, but it was always nice to like come back to the touchstones that resonated most with the thematics in the script and make sure we were kind of on track that way. You know, in the instances where we were just seeing tons and tons of tape, being like, okay, who could be right? Who could be right? Sharon Rooney and Hari, they were the first two Barbies, I think, that we were like, oh, they're perfect. Hari's tape was so funny. She just had the rhythm down. She had that quick wit. It was so funny. I'd actually been a fan of Hari Nef's for years, ever since Assassination Nation, actually. It's a film she did years ago with Sam Levinson. So I'd been kind of tracking her career for a while, and when her tape came in, I was like, oh, I hope it's good. And it was amazing. And Sharon as well just immediately had the perfect vibe, Barbie Sharon. And she's just like got this gorgeous skin and is beautiful, of course, and she's just funny, so funny, but very, very kind at the same time. We didn't want humor that felt mean-spirited. It always had to have like an energy and a rhythm to it and be quick-witted, but never cynical or mean. No one in Barbie Land should ever have cynicism kind of seeping into what they're saying or how they're doing it. And Alex, Barbie Alex, again, her tape was just so good. She had that like sweet thing that even on a laptop screen, you could kind of feel this energy. It was amazing. And then Barbie Anna is actually a good friend of Greta's, and she was like, I've got a friend who would be perfect Barbie energy, and she's Auntie Anna, as we call her. She's just hilarious and the best. What Mark Ronson has done with the music in this film is unbelievable. Music's always that really fun thing that usually it's kind of like icing the cake. You make the cake and then at the end you're like, oh, it gets even better when we ice it. But that doesn't even begin to cover what Mark Ronson's done. And he didn't come at the end to ice the cake. He's been a part of the process from the beginning. And it's so important. That's made the biggest difference, is having the music kind of grow and evolve whilst the film grew and evolved. And he's pulled in, obviously, the most incredible artists who, I don't know, he kind of developed this signature thing where the music is responding to what's happening on screen. I mean, there's like this hilarious song at the beginning when Barbie's going through her perfect day and then her bad day, and Lizzo's lyrics are very much reflecting what you're seeing on screen, and it's just this added layer of comedy, and this extra conversation that's happening with the audience that's so funny, and it's an incredibly catchy, amazing song. You know, the Billie Eilish song at the end of the movie, it made me cry the very first time I heard it. I still cry. I just watched a video of the orchestra, an actual orchestra playing the score, which makes me happy that that still happens in movies. You know, a real whole orchestra gets together and plays a movie score, and they record it and they put it in. Not everything's done on computers. But to hear Billie Eilish's song played by an orchestra, and half the orchestra turned up wearing pink and no one even told them to, they just did it because they wanted to, that made me cry as well. Yeah, there's been a lot of emotional moments on this movie, unexpectedly emotional moments, but the music and what Mark Ronson's done, absolutely incredible. And Dua, of course. Dua Lipa is our mermaid Barbie and is just the coolest, and I've loved her for so many years as well. And just, again, like, that was the dream, to get her in there, and she said yes, and then she did a song, and we did it for the whole dance, the block party, and it's just, the soundtrack's killer. Absolutely killer on this. There's so many artists, I can't even begin to go through everyone, but
Greta is making the Barbie movie perfect, wonderful. And my agent called and was like, there is a role, and the role is of weird Barbie. And I was like, okay. I'm home. I have to have it, because if you asked me to pick a role for myself, it would be weird Barbie, and I wouldn't quite know what that would mean, but it would mean this, and so I'm so happy, so beyond happy to be here. She is a force is the only word for what she is. I don't understand how a person has that much energy to give, had that clear of a vision about every single detail of something, and that much love and attention to give. It's sort of like being cuddled like a baby bird by this wonderful, like, mother / mad scientist, and it's amazing. She's unbelievable. Weird Barbie has sort of been relegated, sequestered, quarantined to this space, which is her weird house, which is a sort of freakish amalgam of shapes and colors, obviously, that is the manifestation of who she is in this world, which is like a shaman figure, and the keeper of everyone's hidden weirdness. And I like to think of myself like that in real life too, but that's pretty grandiose, so forget I said it. I myself did not play with Barbies. Go figure, but my sister sure did, and she had a bunch of normals whose hair she brushed and whose clothes she cared for, and there was one receptacle of her ire and bizarre feelings that got its head shaved, as they all did, and hers was known as Urinelle because it smelled like pee from something. And you keep a weird Barbie with her legs splayed as far as they will go. And it's just, it's a character that every little girl grew up with. And I think that the reason every girl decided to have a weird Barbie was because, you know, if you're being spoon-fed these gender roles, something in you is not all that, and that needs a place to go, and where that goes is your weird Barbie. She is an unbelievable actor and performer, and I have so much fun being around her because she's so open and like wide-eyed and just has this like guileless open quality, and I have a like full of guile, like cynical, dry quality, and it's just so much fun. It's a person who has been raised as one thing and thinks they are that thing, but knows somewhere deep down that they're something else. And it's that journey of self-actualization that every human being is on, and is thwarted in every human being by these rigid gender roles and ideas about what we ought to be. Okay.
To be able to have the opportunity to play president of all the Barbies, even though all Barbies can do anything and are capable of everything, to be able to wear my presidential sash and, in my mind, rule and kick it over Barbie Land is a treat. And it's so much fun playing her. Everything's just so optimistic and positive in the Barbie world. So the president is doing a good job maintaining that, I'd imagine. Does she even have to do anything? Who knows? She might. The president passes bills all day and every day, and that's why Barbie Land gets to be what it is. So I'm going to take full credit. I reversed what I said initially. President Barbie does everything. President Barbie is different because her hair, I would say, fluctuates a lot. She might have a large afro wig. She might have a slinky curly wig, like the texture changes. So her outfits change just as much as her hair does. To be able to be transformed into a Barbie, you know, hearing Ivana talk about like the eyes in particular and making sure that they felt doll-like, and talking to Dumemi, my makeup artist, about like making sure that was showcased, and from that straight Barbie eyebrows to, you know, obviously the hair, and the bigger the better. And I've never had big hair. First of all, it's heavy, like my neck is kind of shooting back in this, but it's, once you see it as a whole, you're just like, okay, yes, I believe that all of these women are dolls and all of these men are Kens, and it really is, there's such subtleties to becoming these Barbie dolls. The Barbies are absolutely amazing. When I first walk on set, I was like, oh, they have been here for a couple weeks. I was like kind of nervous, like, oh, they've already bonded, I missed that time. But everybody is the nicest and so welcoming, and you know, we've gone out a couple of times. There's always an opportunity to just hang, and it's just laughs in between takes, during takes sometimes, and it's just really genuinely fun to watch everybody's interpretation of being a Barbie and being a Ken. And I just get so much enjoyment. There's not one scene that I've been a part of that hasn't made me crack up laughing. Anyone who has talked to me since I've been on this movie can tell you that I've sung Greta's praises. It really is, from the moment you meet her, from the moment you walk onto her set, it is such a warm, inviting environment. And I don't know if that's just because it's the Barbie movie and it's the Barbie world, but I doubt that. I feel like it really is just her, and it's such a comforting place to be able to take chances. You know, she's so funny and also just full of stories that may impact how you make a decision, how you make a specific acting choice, and it's just one of the best sets I've ever been on, if not the best. I love that Greta and team took the time to make sure that all Barbies were represented, and you know, across spectrums, across body types, and across backgrounds, and it doesn't feel forced. This is Barbie, you know, this is the Barbie that I've come to know from my parents, making sure that I had a black Barbie growing up, from, you know, seeing the representation of all different types of Barbies as I've gotten older, and being able to reflect that in this movie. And I'm sure we didn't cover everything. It's impossible to, but there's the acknowledgement of that, and you know, I really value that, and I appreciate that. It's a beautiful thing to witness.
I think that with Greta's approach, it was a mixture of getting to know us as individual humans, and then fusing that with what she saw for these various Barbies. Like, I'm Nobel Prize winning Barbie, and I'm a writer, and so what does that look like, and how do I bring myself to that? And just really being specific and intentional on little things. Plus, what's great about working with Greta is she's down for the back and forth. She's not like, this is who you are, this is how I want it, go. You know, it's like, what do you think? And for a director to ask you what you think just means the world to an actor. And to trust us with these characters and to say, hey, I hired you to do the job and I actually want you to do it. I don't want you to be a doll. I want you to be who you see this doll as being. And it just is like a great environment to work in. I was trying to work this out with Greta the other day, and I gave like a really bad elevator pitch, and she was like, I love hearing how people describe this movie because it's like a spaghetti bolognese, okay? Barbie is a spaghetti bolognese. It is all these different working parts that make into something that's really yummy and comfort foody. So you've got all of this bubblegum Barbie land dream house, big hair, pink everything. And it comes together in this wholesome story about a woman finding herself. And you deal with toxic masculinity and the patriarchy and men having an identity crisis, which as a Black woman was like, oh, are you? But it's just really smart and well thought out. I think it's really important for young girls to see the various types of Barbies that we're representing in this movie, because we don't see that all the time. We don't see that in general, let alone with our child doll representations. And so to have that is just so important. And for me, growing up in the 90s, like, yeah, we had like a couple of Black Barbies, but she was just like wearing a dress, you know, and to see Barbie Issa as president, you know, and to have me being a Nobel Prize winner, like there's just something really great about that. To see a plus size Barbie, to see a Barbie who has who's an amputee, like to see all of these different types of Barbies, it's really important because not every Barbie is the same Barbie, and not every girl is the same girl. And to see yourself, even in doll form, even on television, it really does change your perspective. Ryan is an incredible Ken. He is so funny. So funny. And like, I'm familiar with his work, of course, he's brilliant, but like, I feel like Ken really brought something out of him that is a total pleasure to watch, hands down. And he's really kind and really funny and kind of quiet, which I love. And he does his own thing and he keeps to himself, but he has just like these little like bursts of like comedic genius on set, and you're just like, I'm gonna write that in my notebook. There's so much play in how she directs, that it creates a real safe space in order for you to feel like you can try something. And I think you'll really be able to see that with this movie, because everyone's trying something different and it's landing. And I don't know if the things I'm doing is landing, but like I'm watching other people do stuff and I'm like, that hits, you know what I mean? So we'll see in the final product, but it's just really beautiful to work with someone who creates a safe space for her artists in order for them to really flourish.
I first heard about it through my agent, as always, but the main thing was Greta Gerwig and Margot, two of my icons and women I look up to very, very much. So it was very exciting. And I sent in a few tapes and pestered my agent every single day, being like, are you sure they got them? Do they like them? Can I do them again? I'll do them a million more times if I have to. I can do accents. I can do and I was just so thrilled that it even came onto our desk. So I was very excited about it. And yeah. Ryan is exquisite. He is so, I don't know why I said that word like an old lady. He's exquisite. Ryan is so special also because he's very, very generous, but he has brought this little boy energy to Ken, which is so perfect. This thing of trying to make someone else proud or to try and like pretend you're strong and confident and know exactly what you're doing. And he has all of these idiosyncrasies and these little expressions that he has that are so childish, but so perfect for Ken, because Ken is kind of an unevolved man. He's like an unevolved human. He hasn't quite got there yet, which is a really, so it's great. So he's obviously tapped into that childlike humor and and I don't know, I just think it's very smart how he's done it, and we can see a real progression as well, obviously, because he goes on a whole epic journey as well alongside Barbie. It's great to have the solid, precise script that you have in the beginning as a foundation, and then you can, you know, draw it out and spin all these different kinds of webs. So when she saw that, obviously Shruti and I are dear friends and we've worked together before, and I think she just saw that we had a connection and that we adore each other, and naturally I think over the first couple of weeks she started having the idea, or the seed was planted, that maybe there could be something more. And then she was like, I think you guys should be each other's Barbie and Ken. I think you guys are in love platonically, but I think you're in love. And I was like, yeah, okay. And me and she were like, this is the best thing ever. We're just gonna, I'm so sorry, but you're stuck with me again. But it was just really special because it's so lovely to be seen and to know that someone is seeing you for who you are and knows that you can bring something different and that you have this potential that needs to be used, not for me, but for, you know, for anyone, any of all of us. I think that's what's been so great, is that when I speak about progression and confidence and precision, is that Greta has been able to pluck things out of all of us that have made sense for our Barbies, but also for us, and have made, and I don't think she knows this, I don't think she knows she's doing this, I don't think she does it conscientiously, but she just, it's just part of her plethora of skills. That was the first thing we shot, pretty much, so that was very early on in the shoot. And it's always fun, not that I've done it very much, but it's always fun learning a skill or practicing for something before you go on a film. Makes you feel like a real actor. And it was just, it was great to have a couple of weeks of rehearsals with the Barbies beforehand, and getting to meet the dancers and being in the studio space, and then practicing here the day before we started shooting. So again, a real progression and a short space of time to do it in, but I think it looks so good. And the dancers were incredible and were on their feet from like 5 a.m. till 8 p.m. every day for 4 days straight. It was pretty amazing. The costumes are incredible. It was the first time that I felt involved in the process, because Greta kind of gave us the green light to ensure that we felt comfortable and beautiful, and whatever that means for us. And I think it's a really good way to go about it, because you're not being imposed something. And weirdly, even though we are playing dolls and it should be costume-esque, it actually they feel like clothes, which is great. And that's the whole point. That's how a costume should feel. It should feel like you could just pop this on every day. So it feels right in the setting. And you know, Jacqueline and her team were inspired by Slim Aaron's photography, so there was a very specific starting point. And then, because we go through the decades together, all of us, it's a costume designer's dream to be able to go through all of those different decades and get to do it with dolls. I mean, it's pretty special. So I think they had a great time doing it. I think it's a lot of work, and I'm again in awe of what they've done. I think it's pretty momentous. It's never been seen before, you know. And I think to be able to do that today, where everything is recycled, and we, you know, it's not bad. Of course it's fine to recycle films and references, of course, and we do that in this film. But I think to be able to write a film and to write characters that have never been done before is so great and so special. And I tend to watch films once, and I feel like Barbie will be one of those films that people watch again and again, because there's so much in it, and there's so much to unpack, and there are so many references. And then depending on whether you see it when you're 15 and you'll watch it when you're 30, like, oh, I didn't get that reference because I hadn't watched that, and it will just keep reinventing itself. I really think that, and I think that's the secret to a great piece of art, is its timelessness. So yes, that's what I think.
It's been absolutely surreal, so much fun, and having the opportunity to be directed by Greta has been an absolute dream. The energy on set's been amazing, and I absolutely love being Mermaid Barbie.
Well, I'm just the biggest admirer in the world of Noah and Greta, and so the moment that I heard that they were writing it and she was directing it, I just wanted to have absolutely anything to do with it that I could. I think what she's made is probably the most incredible thing for those of us that love Barbies, my heart exploded when I came onto this set for the first time. It was sort of so amazing that all of my sort of like girlish dreams that are often, I think, treated maybe with derision often, have been treated so beautifully and made so wonderfully. And it's a real kind of testament to Greta's vision that she's made such an amazingly, wonderfully crafted film. And certainly this will be my godfather, I believe.
The most exciting thing about meeting Greta, and one of the coolest things about her, is she's so interested in you, which is so unusual. Normally you meet a director and they want to talk to you about them, their film, their ideas, you know, everything like that. But she was so interested in me, and did I play with Barbies? What did I do growing up? Did I dance? Did I have any pictures? And like, she was so interested in where I grew up, what school was like. You know, she was just really interested, and it was so cool. And in terms of Barbie, because I was like, what do you want? What do you want me to do? And the most important thing that she said, and the thing that I've carried with me, and I think probably the other girls would say they've done too, is that Barbie is everything and she's anything. There's nothing she can't do and there's no one she can't be, but we are all Barbie, and we can all do everything and we can do it all really well. The best thing about Barbie Land is the Barbies are in charge. So we do everything. And the Kens are there. We allow them in Barbie Land, but they're mainly just there as support to us. And they're there when we need them. We like having them around, but we are the boss. My Barbie is the lawyer Barbie, so I got to do this really cool scene at the Supreme Court, which, with everything that's going on in the world, it felt like a really cool thing to do and a really powerful thing to be able to do. She also wears really cool tracksuits and channels Lizzo, so you know, I get the best of both worlds. That's the coolest thing about being a Barbie, is you can be everything and anything. Working with Greta is everything I dreamed it would be. She's actually, don't tell her this, but I have a bucket list of people that I always wanted to work with and just meet, actually, and she was kind of quite high on that list. So working with her is a genuine dream come true, actually, and it's amazing watching her work. Like, sometimes just watching her, how she interacts with people, how she interacts with the crew, and I just think she creates a really nice place to work. It feels like a really nice, safe environment, not just for us, but for the whole crew. Like, I always think it comes from the top, and I don't just think a cast should be happy, I think a crew should be happy too. And if you look around the Barbie set, everyone's having a nice time and everyone's working really hard because they're having a good time and they all want to make this the best they can. And that's because of Greta. Like, it's all because of her. And she's just a really special human. What makes this movie so special is there genuinely is something for everyone. I can't imagine anyone going to see this and not enjoying it. There truly is something in this for everyone. It's got everything you want from a film. It's funny, it's sad, it's emotive, it's brilliant. I mean, it's Greta Gerwig. Need we say more?
It's been the most fun thing today, maybe the most fun I've ever had in a single day of a job, because there's something about being a grown-up, getting to dress up and be a Barbie that's deeply, deeply thrilling and so exciting, and everyone just looks like a real walking, talking, living doll. It's amazing. When I was growing up, I was a huge, huge fan of Barbie. I inherited some from my sisters, so I had, I think, almost 30 Barbies, not to brag. And I also had my very own Barbie car, the pink Cadillac. I got it for Christmas when I was 6 years old, and I posed by the Christmas tree holding my Barbie Cadillac. And I had a Barbie called Sparkle Eyes Barbie, and when I showed Jacqueline Duran, the costume designer, she made me the exact dress Sparkle Eyes Barbie used to have, so I am literally dressed up as a Barbie that I owned as a little girl. Putting on this costume was so much fun. It really does make you sort of feel like a little girl again, because this is not something you could ever wear in real life. Well, maybe some people could, but I don't think I could pull it off. But it's amazing, and it did just feel like a little doll's play costume sized up, because I remember playing with the teeny tiny miniature version of this, never thinking I'd get to wear it, but look at me now.
When we got the script, I was blown away. I know Greta pretty well, and I didn't really know what to expect from a Barbie movie, and the journey that the film goes in and the various themes of, you know, patriarchy and motherhood and all the various things that women are expected to be versus what they're capable of. There's something for everyone in the way that she tells the story, and it is such an adventure movie, but the themes are so beautifully wound throughout, and I had no idea that it would be like that. So that was really exciting. And I definitely laughed. I cried at a specific Gloria and Sasha moment because mothers and daughters are so tricky, but it's the best relationship. Then no matter how terrible it is, it's the most important one. Barbie Anna is interesting because I have thought about, well, who is Barbie Anna? And I do feel she is a assimilation of Anna. And so I don't know. I think the beautiful thing about Barbie Anna is she is from lots of places. I have a very diverse background. My mom's from the Philippines. My father is a Jewish man, and I was raised deeply in both cultures. And I don't think that is a unique story to me. I think there are many people walking around this world who hold two cultures very richly in their lives, and because they don't present one physically, phenotypically, they don't get to claim it, but it is actually extremely unique to them and a big part of their background. I think Barbie Anna represents those people, and I feel emotional about it because I, as an actress, rarely get to be all the parts of myself. But in this project, I'm allowed to have a seat at the table and represent even a sliver of that population of people that is not other, but is everything.
I was big into Barbies, and I had the dolls. I had several little trunks full of them, but my favorite Barbie thing was this computer game. My stepsisters had it. A couple girlfriends of mine had it. I don't think I had a Windows PC. Maybe it was for Mac too. I don't remember. It was called Barbie's Magic Hairstyler. And it was all about styling a Barbie on a digital interface for a night out, which was like mind-blowing technology in the 90s. And, you know, you could grow her hair, you could choose her makeup, and you were getting her ready for all these different scenarios. You know, before The Sims, before Instagram, before Facetune, before makeup YouTube, there was Barbie's Magic Hairstyler. So that's where I learned the basics of glam. Greta specifically is one of the leading architects of what modern femininity is on screen, from her acting performances to her films. She's never missed, and she kind of introduced this complex female character, this imperfect antihero idea of, you know, what a woman can inhabit on screen that is now almost so familiar, and it's the center of every prestige television show that comes out. But Greta was up to this like 20 years ago in the indie world, and it's since gone mainstream. But like, Greta really is that girl. Like, the things that we sit down and expect to see when we're checking our little boxes for the Twitter and the think pieces about, you know, is this a good portrayal? Like, Greta is a part of that, foundational. So it seemed that she would be the perfect leader of this ship. I'm such a fan of hers going back. It's insane. The fact that we have multiple Barbies, and that we are also different from each other, both superficially and in our essences, that's what makes the film modern, and that's what makes the film current, and it allows that Barbie crown to be shared with a wider swath of actresses for hire who probably never in a million years, some of us, thought that they would be cast in a Barbie movie. My first kind of meeting about the film was with Jacqueline Duran, the legendary, iconic, groundbreaking costume designer, and she told me that Barbie Hari, my Barbie, was unofficially fashion Barbie. You know, they knew that I worked a lot in the fashion world, and they wanted to use that and work with that. And so my looks are super fun and distinctive and maybe not always what you would expect from a typical Barbie. And they're very over the top. And, you know, I have this beautiful hair, you know, designed by Ivana. Like, so I was thinking, like, okay, like whose Barbie is, who owns the Barbie who is always just like perfectly done, taking it to the next level. No other Barbies have that look. And I decided that the person who owned my Barbie was not a child at all. It's like a 38-year-old gay guy who lives alone in the West Village, who like has 4 friends and invites them all over at a salon every week on Friday nights. And every night, every one of those Friday nights, he brings me out in my new outfit to share with his 4 friends. And I just sit there perfect in my box for the rest of the week. You know what? Okay, so Ken Ryan is played by the Ryan Gosling. And the main thing I have to say about Ryan is that he is maybe the most surprising, exciting screen performer I've ever worked with. And I've worked with some really great ones. And I learned so much as an actor just watching him when the red light goes on and the camera is there. Not just for his coverage, but for every angle. He does it slightly differently every time while always hitting his marks. And he is so freaking funny. The Ken laugh that he does, I'm not even gonna spoil it or try to do it for you. When you hear the way his Ken laughs, it's gonna be iconic. Like, he cracks me up. He's a goofball. He arrives in the room. He listens. He's funny. He's so funny. And he also looks like that. That's really cool.